Laura Ray, and welcome into my channel. Welcome to my home. I'm so glad that you're here today, and I'm going to talk about some favorites, some makeup that I'm loving. I'm looking around here at everything I have to share, and it's so affordable. And we all love that, right? So welcome, and I want to get started with the foundation I'm wearing. Now, when I did my beauty awards, which I believe was around back in October of 2021, I talked about this foundation, the CoverGirl Outlast, and how much I loved it, that it gives beautiful coverage. I would say medium to full coverage. And I'm still loving it. So I wanted to talk about it because I have tried probably 10 new foundations in the past couple of months, but I still think this one is amazing. But what I want to share with you is something that I'm doing with this foundation now. I'm actually taking this jojoba oil that I've talked about and mixing a drop in it. That was my only complaint about this when I first tried it, was the spreadability of it. Getting it on the skin and it not sinking in and then making it quickly hard to spread. So I find when I put a drop of this oil in, it's like a whole different foundation. It spreads beautifully. Now, I've been trying that with some other foundations, and many of you have written me and you've said, oh my gosh, Laura Ray, that one drop of oil was a game changer. So if you have any foundations that you have at home right now that just seem to not spread too well on your skin or make your skin look dry or too matte, then I suggest a drop of jojoba oil. It's that simple. And what I find too is that on my skin, it's not as drying when I put the foundation on. Now I have what I would say right now combo skin. I get a little oily on the nose, in the T-zone, but I really don't have any dry patches right now, but the weather is warming up. But when the weather's really cold, like many of you are experiencing right now, my skin becomes totally different skin, gets very dry, and I have to make sure I have plenty of moisture. So I'm loving this CoverGirl Outlast. By the way, I'm in the shade Creamy Natural number 820. Now, everything I'm talking about tonight, and for those of you watching the replay, welcome. It will be in the description of the video. All you have to do is hit the show more or the down arrow, depending whether you're on a phone or you're on your computer. And all the links are listed there. Those are affiliate links, and I do get a small commission, but I appreciate that so much because that helps me to be able to continue to do videos. Now, I want to pause for a minute and welcome the ladies that are here. Elle, we're glad you're here. And Ronnie, I'm so happy to see you. Leslie and Julie and Candace and Marilyn and Helen. Wow, and Tamara, Julie's here all the way from Australia. Wow. We've got the ladies here from Texas, Washington State. It's so exciting. Now, Candace says, what type of oil? I use jojoba oil, Candace. Now, I've also tried the emu oil. Some people aren't fans of emu oil because it's not cruelty-free. So I wanted to try some different oils to give options for everyone. And this is from Kate Blanc. I have this in my YouTube store. Very affordable, and you only use a drop. Now, this is so great because the jojoba oil is supposed to be the oil that is closest to the oil we produce in our own skin. So I like to use this with my gua sha tool, and I've talked about that so much. If you're interested in gua sha, I have a whole 2 videos about it where I show you exactly how to do it, but I feel that's helped with my puffy under eyes, fine lines, lifting my skin, getting more definition in the jawline here, and just giving a very lifted look to the face. So I love gua sha, and this is the oil that I use when I do it. So how convenient. All I had to do was drop a drop into this CoverGirl that I'm wearing right now, and it just gave so much more of a spreadability to the foundation. This is a little harder to spread than some that I have that are glowy and have a lot of skincare ingredients. And we know that now these foundations that are at the drugstore, they're really adding in things like hyaluronic acid and different oils to make the foundation look more beautiful in the skin, just like the high-end do. You know, if we think of like Charlotte Tilbury's new foundation, it's got hyaluronic acid in it. So they're putting these skincare ingredients, I feel not so much for the skincare, but for the fact that it makes it look better on the skin. You don't get the dryness you get from foundation that doesn't have it in it. And also just the ease of using it. It's just so much more spreadable. So Ronnie says, great tip. My skin is so dry because of menopause. I went through that also, and as I've come out of menopause, I've been out of menopause for about a year now, it is so much better. My skin is nowhere near as dry as when the, I call them hormones, the hormones were raging. So now my skin seems to have normalized. So there's hope down the road. And Helen says, I've done that with argan oil, and I have some of that too. I'm going to try that. I bought some actually for my hair, but I'll try dropping that in the foundation. That's a great tip. And Laura, hello from Florida East Coast, where, hey, we're about to get rain here too. And Candace says, I'm loving the Wet n Wild Tinted Moisturizer. I like that one too. It's under $5. I've talked about that one. It's so affordable. And that does have the moisturizer mixed right in it, so it spreads. The thing I would say about the CoverGirl compared to the Wet n Wild, this is going to give you better coverage. So if you have hyperpigmentation on your skin that you're trying to cover, or any red marks, then I would say this is going to give you better coverage than the Wet n Wild. But I do love the Wet n Wild. I've used it for a long time. And so hello to Melody from Illinois. And Melody says, I just received my bottle in the mail. Love how it feels. And Candace says, my dry skin loves squalene oil. Awesome. And that's another good one. Well, let's talk about primers. I have a couple to share with you. Right now, what I did before I put on the CoverGirl was I used this one from Wet n Wild. I love it. This is called their Impossible Primer. Now, this is a silicone primer, but usually silicone primers all have that same feel where they sort of feel like powder once they dry down. Well, this one feels like powder and then like water. So it's very unique. I've never felt any that have felt like this. I'll put some on my hand. It actually makes your hands even look better. But you can see here the thickness of it. It's like a real gel texture. It's not going to go anywhere. And then once you rub it in, it just goes right to the, feels like water on my skin right now. Very wet and just dries quickly. And this is beautiful for your fine lines. I love this for filling in the cheeks, but also little fine lines I have in this area around the eyes. For me, silicone primer works the best. What I'm trying to do when I use a primer is not moisturize. I get that from sunscreen. I get that from any moisturizer that I already have that I really like. So I'm not necessarily looking for a moisturizer. When I use a primer, I want to fill in pores. I want to fill in fine lines. I want it to be spackle. That's what I'm looking for. And so I don't cover my entire face with this. What I do is any fine line that I have or pore, that's where it goes. So it's mostly in forehead lines, around the eyes here, and in the pores here. So I'm not wearing any in the jawline or the middle of the face here. I'm really only, I don't even necessarily put it all over my nose because my nose on the top, the pores aren't very evident. The pores are more pronounced on the side of the nose. So I'm very strategic with this primer, but I love it and so affordable. And I see that Candace says, I'm loving the Wet n Wild Hydrating Primer drops, or it's amazing. That's awesome. And hello to Penelope all the way from Canada. We're glad you're here. Analyzing My Life says, I use rosehip seed oil. That's fantastic too. I've tried that. And that's wonderful. Penelope says, I feel that short manicure painted nails are the best. I love them. I pretty much keep mine short because of the work I do at school. I'm around a lot of papers and filing things. And so I used to have longer nails and it was so much upkeep. And I just felt like they never looked good. And keeping them shaped right is also challenging. So one time, I think what happened, I saw Martha Stewart and she was doing some stuff and I thought, even Martha doesn't have long nails. She keeps hers pretty manicured and short, but I thought her hands looked so nice. So classic, you know, just beautiful. So that's when, so I think Martha Stewart sort of helped me make that decision of cutting my nails shorter. Now, I do have a primer for those of you that don't want silicone. I wanted to try this out. This is Silicone-Free, and it's from Good Molecules. It's their priming moisturizer. Now, this says formulated with shea butter, macadamia seed oil, and plant-derived silicone. It's an alternative, and it deeply hydrates, smooths, and nourishes the skin. Well, I have very sensitive skin. I'm always careful trying out things like this. This did not break me out at all. It's beautiful, just really nice. You can see it's a little thicker than some moisturizers. It's not running. It's got a nice texture. It's not too thick, not too thin, and it sinks pretty quickly into the skin, leaves a nice finish on the skin. So if you are looking, if you have really dry skin, when my skin's really dry, I usually double moisturize, or between my moisturizer and sunscreen, I double moisturize. So if that's you, if you really have dry skin, then I think this is a great product. It's very affordable. You get a lot of it. This is 1.7 fluid ounces, so you get quite a bit of product. The pump works easy. I really like the packaging. I think it's cute. I did a post on Instagram the other day of 3 favorites from Good Molecules, and I included this because I really like it. So if you're looking for something like that, I think it's really good. Now, speaking of Good Molecules, this is a favorite of mine I've talked about before, but not everyone sees every video, so I wanted to make a point of it. Their Yerba Wake Up Eye Gel. Now, this is a caffeine eye gel made to plump up fine lines around the eyes. What's amazing about it? It works, and it's around $6. So I had been using one from Vichy that I loved. I loved the gel texture of it. I loved how quickly it would sink in. I loved that my makeup did not pill up under it. And I was sold on that and still love it. But not everybody's budget allows for Vichy because it's a pricier brand. So I wanted to try this. Now, it's yellow, but it's still a gel. I want to show you how it looks like. There we go. And you can see it here, and it just quickly sinks in and plumps up the fine lines beautifully. So if you have little crow's feet or little fine lines and you wake up in the morning and you go, oh, they just look very pronounced, and you want to get your makeup on, but you want to put something underneath to plump them up, then I definitely would recommend this. This is great. It's so affordable. It's probably, you know, a fourth of the price of most that are on the market, yet it gets the job done. So hello to Lydia. I love it. Hello, Beauty Club. She's wishing everybody a hello. And Suzette, hello from Florida, my state, the Sunshine State. We're so glad you're here. Helen says, Good tip, I have lupus. I have to be careful what I put on my skin. Well, I have super sensitive skin, and I really noticed the sensitivity right around the time I turned 40. It just seemed like my skin became reactive. And so I'm very careful when I try things. I will try them on my wrist or in the inside of my arm, see if I get a reaction. The skin on my forehead seems a little tougher, so sometimes I'll try it there first before I put it in this area in my cheeks where I'm more likely to break out. So I've had no reaction to that. And hello to Julie. We're glad you and Kathy are here. Welcome. We're talking tonight all about favorites of mine that are super affordable. I want to show you some blush. Most of us are big fans of blush, and I have some beautiful blush to share with you. This is not new, but it's new to me. I have wanted to try this Burt's Bees blush for so long. I love peach shades. This is called Bare Peach. And I've tried some of their other products that they came out when they started developing makeup, and I was pretty satisfied with them. So I tried this, absolutely gorgeous. Whoa, well, that was a snafu, wasn't it? I think they need to work on their packaging. Well, so much for that. That's what happens in a live. This is where if I was filming, I would go, cut. It is beautiful, despite the packaging and me needing some super glue for that. It is a beautiful blush. So much for that. Oh my goodness. Hello to Janet and Melody. We're so glad you're here. Did you guys miss my Burt's Bees snafu? There is now a peach blush somewhere in the great beyond. Well, let's go to Wet n Wild. Hopefully their packaging holds up. Oh my goodness, that is too funny. Well, this one is called Flash Me, this packaging, or this shade, and I think it's beautiful. To me, this looks so much like Charlotte Tilbury's kind of vibe. And of course, it's not a dupe, but I love this shade here. It's what I'm wearing on my cheeks tonight. And then I topped it with another blush. Revlon has come out, reformulated their Insta blushes. So yeah, I'm cracking everybody up with my blush snafu. This is great. I love their reformulation. The only problem I had with the other ones, I thought they were beautiful. I like the size of this stick, and it's so easy to use, is that they weren't very pigmented. These seem to be more pigmented. Of course, I have all kinds of moisturizer there, but they're buildable. I'll show you here. Just really nice. Now, I've tried a ton of cream blush. So many brands from high-end to the lowest drugstore price, and I think this is a beautiful formula. I'd really like to try another shade. This one is 320 Berry Kiss. So I thought it was really good. I can see that they've improved the formula from what it was before because I tried the other ones. So really great. It is funny, Leslie. You can't even plan those kind of things with a blush legit falling out of the packaging. Any recommendations on cream contour? It's funny that you say that, Lynn, because this Saturday, I have a video. It's going to be a long video. It's very involved. It's all problem solvers. And that's one of the things I share for contour because I sort of got away from contour. Now that these cream blushes have been perfected, I think they give a beautiful look. Now, I'm wearing a more expensive one tonight, and that is the Fenty cream blush. You know, Fenty is being carried now at Ulta, and I haven't tried a lot. I, of course, tried the lip gloss, the Balm lip gloss, and it's beautiful, but I like the Maybelline, the one that they have as much or maybe more, that I've showed so many times. But I wanted to try her cream bronzer because I've heard so many good things about it, and I have to say, it is amazing. Now, if you're looking for affordable, what I recommend in my video is the e.l.f. one, their new putty bronzer. Now, the thing is with that, it is not as long lasting. So if you're looking for something more long lasting, then I think the Fenty, if you're gonna wear it all the time, would be worth the splurge. That's how I feel about it. The nice thing about the Fenty, it is very buildable. It goes on soft and you just keep building it. I used one of my BK Beauty brushes to apply it tonight, and I put it in the forehead, all around here. I put it here as contour. I brought it down on the jawline. I also brought it onto the neck. You know, I get so many questions about a loose neck and what you can do to sort of disguise that. And what I don't hear a lot of people talk about is bronzer. The bronzer can really help disguise that. So if you take your bronzer, go along the jaw, and then bring it in here, that can help with this. It's sort of like you just gave yourself a tan. I do love the e.l.f. It's so affordable. It's around $6. And the Fenty is, I think, around $34, around that price range. So it is a lot more. You might want to start with the e.l.f. and see if it's a product you're even going to use every day. What I have found is after I got the look down that I liked, I did start wearing it every day, and it was worth it to me to have the Fenty. But I hope that's helpful, knowing that. And Lydia says, I do prefer cream lipsticks. And Ronnie says, I just can't justify the cost of the Fenty. So I definitely would go with the e.l.f. I think right now the e.l.f. has the formula. It's close to what you're paying for high-end at a drugstore price. Now, another product I love is from Flower Beauty. I don't have it here with me tonight, but to answer your question about bronzers, I love their Heat Wave, the liquid bronzer. You can put a drop like on the glass palette, put it on your sponge and dab around. That's much more affordable. That's around $10, around that price range. And then I also love the one from Flower Beauty. I've shown it numerous times, the Heat Wave, but the powder bronzer. It looks a lot like an hourglass powder. It's beautifully finely milled. It looks gorgeous on the skin. It's very buildable. And again, that's around a $10 price range. So I think there are a lot of good options out there if you want to contour that aren't as pricey as the Fenty. Now, speaking of Flower Beauty, I think some of the best blushes at the drugstore are from Flower Beauty. This one here is the shade, yes, Barrymore. It's named after Drew Barrymore. But I love this shade. Now, she has a lipstick. If you're one of those people like me, I'm still old school. I get the blush and I want the lipstick too. She also has a lipstick that matches with this. And Ronnie says, I love Flower Beauty. I do too. I think to me, it's my favorite brand at the drugstore. I just have to say it because I could buy any product there and be totally satisfied for life. She has beautiful liners that last a long time on the eyes, beautiful blush, gorgeous lipsticks. I would put her lipsticks against any high end. I really would. I love the new ones she came out with, but I also love the ones that were out for quite a while. I had about every shade. So then again, the bronzer. I love her eyeshadow. She comes up with beautiful palettes that are, around the 10 to 14 price range. When you think of paying $50 for an eyeshadow palette, it's a huge difference. So if I had to pick one brand that I love the most, it would definitely be Flower Beauty. She also has great mascara too. So the Warrior mascara, I hadn't tried that. I had always used the Warrior Princess one, which has a brush shaped a lot like the Too Faced brush. I won't mention the name of the mascara, but you know what I'm talking about. We're trying to keep this G-rated. So the wand has that hourglass shape, and the Warrior one has a little different shape to it, but I love them both. The formulas are great. They don't flake. They don't get all over the place. I actually like Drew Barrymore's Flower Mascara better than the Too Faced. One time I went to the chiropractor and I was laying, you know how they make you lay on the table with the, the tissue over it and all of that. So I get up from the tissue and I've been trying the Too Faced mascara out. I had a black ring all under my eye. I looked like I had been beat up. That's what I looked like. And my daughter was with me and she's like, "Oh, Mom, you need a mirror." And I had just black all under my eyes. The chiropractor was a man and he was so kind about it. He's like, "Don't worry, it happens all the time." But I see a question here. Does Ulta sell Flower Beauty? Julie, they do online. They don't carry it in their stores anymore. So if you want to look at it, it's online. It's also sold on Amazon. Some of their products are on there, like I know the mascara and some of their lipsticks. And then also there's the Flower Beauty website. Andrew is in some CVS stores. I know some people have said, not at my CVS, so not at all of them, but in my area, they're at all the CVS different displays. Some are huge. One CVS in my area, I posted a photo on Instagram one day, has a huge display that looks like something from a high-end department store. And then some just have a smaller, like an end cap display. So it depends what area of the country you're in. They're not all set up the same way at every store. And so hello to Kelly Girl 83 and Lydia. If I think I said hello to you, but I want to make sure I do say hello. And so those are the blushes. And even though the Burt's Bees fell on the floor, it is a good blush. So later I'll do a little repair job and it'll be back in business. So Helen says, "I love e.l.f. Have you tried the Jones Road Miracle Balm by Bobbi Brown? It's amazing for a no makeup look." I haven't. I'll have to look into that. I have used Bobbi Brown like a BB cream before and I did love it. I used that for several months and I really liked it. And Suzette says the Light Illusion Foundation is lovely. That was one of my favorite. I talked about Suzette for months on my channel. I wore that every day. I love that foundation. Out of the foundations Drew has created, that one's my favorite. I like that more than the serum. That's my top dog. And hello, love from Tampa. Oh, I love Tampa. What a beautiful area of Florida. We're so glad you're here. And B. Walker, I'm glad you're here. And we're thrilled to have you here. Yes, I try to keep this G-rated. So some of Too Faced products, I will not mention the name. I have to go to school tomorrow with my head high. Now I have an eyeshadow palette to share with you tonight. I saw another YouTuber, not in our mature community. It was a younger YouTuber talking about was pretty much a dupe for Naked Reloaded. Now Naked Reloaded, oh, here I am saying I wasn't going to talk about it. I said Naked Reloaded. Naked Reloaded is one of my favorite of Urban Case palettes. It's got a lot of peachy nudes in it, some unique shades, and they blend beautifully. I've bought it for people as gifts. I really like that. And so this one is from Revlon. Now what's funny is I told my daughter, we were talking about it tonight, I have bought others of these palettes and I didn't really like them. I don't even think that I mentioned them on my channel. But this one from Revlon is the one she recommended and it's called Rebel. And let me just, sometimes these packaging, I wish they'd make them easier to open. They're so complicated. I usually end up chipping my nails. But look at this. Isn't it beautiful? Now what I'm wearing tonight on my eyes is a combination of this palette and this brand new product from Physicians Formula. I love duochrome, so I had to buy one of these, and I'm going to go back and buy a couple more shades. This is their new Diamond Metallic, and that's, I'm going to close my eyes for a minute so you can really take a look at it. But isn't that beautiful? It's so affordable. Usually, duochrome is almost impossible to find at the drugstore. You see it in high-end brands, but not usually in a drugstore. That's one of the reasons I used to love the Wet n Wild Comfort Zone. You ladies remember the original 8-pan palette. In there was a duochrome. That was my whole reason for being obsessed with that 8-pan. I wish they would bring those back. They are just a product I love that I wish would make a comeback. So we need to push Wet n Wild for that. But they made such a beautiful duochrome. So when I saw this, and around $10, I was like, they had me at duochrome. Now, first of all, the packaging is so cute. The little diamond packaging. This is a sponge applicator. That's how they decided to go with this. And look at that on my hand. Beautiful. Oh my gosh, I'm in love. This is just my jam. This is what I really love. For an evening look, I think this is just amazing. But I wear it in the daytime too. I don't really care. But it is beautiful and so affordable. And what I did was around the edges where I stopped it, I really mainly put it on my lid. Then I took a brush and sort of just pulled it up so it would blend onto the bone of my eye. And then I took this palette out and used this shade here and this one here. Now for liner, I used the bottom shade combined with a new, it's not new, it's new to me, an amazing liner. It's from Docolor. Now, I found the NYX one that I love, the Epic Ink Liner in brown, and it lasts like nobody's business. Well, let me tell you, this does too, because when I started testing this, I not only put it on my eyes, I put it on my hands and wore it to school all day. I must have washed my hands 7 or 8 times, and it didn't budge. I actually had to really scrub to get it off. It would have come off easy with makeup remover, but that's how great this is. And this is a felt tip liner. I want you to see how intense the color is. Now, I want to tell you about a fail recently. I love Essence, but I bought one of the Essence liners like this. It was so watered down and didn't have any pigmentation to it that I was like, this isn't anything I could ever recommend because I almost couldn't see it on my lid. But with the Docolor, look at this, how pigmented it is. So what I did tonight was I put it on my eye first. Now what I like to do so I get a softer look, instead of the harsh line that you get from a liner, like a ink liner, I go over it with a powder afterwards. I just take an angled brush, dip into it, and go over the line. And it makes it look so soft, it's easy to blend, and you don't have to be so perfect with your ink liner. I think a lot of people stay away from ink liners because they either feel like, oh, my hand's gonna shake, I'm gonna have a wiggly line, or they think it looks too intense. So if you do the liner first and then go over it with a powder, it just smooths it out and makes it look absolutely beautiful. Tamara says, very pretty palette. I love this because think for travel, instead of bringing that huge Naked Reloaded palette, it's giant. You just pop this in your bag. Now I wore this shade, I combined a couple of these shades the other day on my lid, and what a beautiful look. I'm having so much fun with this, as much fun as I would with a $50 palette. You don't have to spend a lot of money to have fun. So I think this is just fantastic. Now I remember last week, Brandy had asked me about primer when you are putting on cream eyeshadow, and I wanted to address that. Sometimes I still put on primer regardless because I just feel like it smooths out any purple veins, those kind of things on my eyes. It depends a lot on you. I still have some days oily lids. I live in Florida, it's very humid. Some of you live in a drier climate, your eyes are drier. You can probably get away with not wearing a primer at all. But for me, a lot of times because of the humidity, I put on a shadow and it disappears too quickly. So if I want my makeup to look as great when I get home 10 or 12 hours later, I have to wear a primer. So, but I still use a primer with some cream shadows. Now that new one I told you about from IT Cosmetics, their new cream eyeshadow stick, trust me, you do not need a primer. That does not budge. Now those are very pricey compared with the e.l.f. that I love that are only $5. The one from IT Cosmetics is $24, but it's very pigmented. If you find a shade you love in that brand, oh my gosh, you will feel like you hit the lottery because it doesn't move, it looks beautiful, it gives you enough time to blend. It's very pigmented, more pigmented than the e.l.f. So if that's what you're looking for, then that's a recommendation. So what's the name of the palette again? Melody, this is the Maverick palette from Revlon, and it's called Rebel, I guess, number 930. I have everything linked. If you click the show more underneath my video or the little down arrow, everything is linked there. And the shade, I tell the shade of foundation I'm wearing, all of that. So that information is there for you too. So now a couple of more things I have that are favorites I want to share with you tonight. First, let's talk about the lipstick I'm wearing. Again, I'm into very long wearing products because I'm gone from the house for so long at work. And my day just goes. I have no time. I barely have time to eat lunch, let alone mess around with makeup. So I love this from Maybelline. This is their Ultimatte. And this, I love the size of this. This is the same shape as like the Clinique lipsticks, like the Black Honey. I like this long, slender shape. It's very easy to apply on the lips. It lasts for hours. Now this shade is called More Blush, and I really like it. It's a little different than anything I owned. It's got a little peach to it, a little nude, maybe a little mauve mixed in. So I really like the look of this. This is perfect for any time of year, but as we move and transition sort of from winter into spring, I like to change my colors up. I know a lot of people don't. They wear the same colors all year, and I'm good with that. But I like to switch. I like to switch my nails. You can already see I'm thinking spring and summer by my nails. And so I like to switch it up. In the winter, I wear a lot of dark shades normally on my nails, but we're already hitting the 80s this week in Florida. So we're sort of getting out of that winter mode and into hot mode, basically. So Kathy really liked the lipstick. I do too, and it lasts so long. And Kelly Girl says, isn't Ulta's 21 Days of Beauty coming up? Yes, it is. And I'll be putting in the community post of YouTube. If you're subscribed and I don't think you can get it on an iPad, but I can get on my phone or also on the computer, the community tab. I post deals that I see and also reviews. If I've used something like I posted the Epic Liner from NYX and I find something that's really great that I want to share with you during the week, I do those posts there and put a link where you can go over and look at it. So I hope that that's helpful to you, and I appreciate all of your support. Terry says, no time for lunch. You must be a teacher. Yes, you know, Terry, that is so true. The lunchtime, usually you end up with about 10 minutes. By the time you get your class settled, you get back to your space to eat. So that's about the length of lunch. Well, I have two more favorites to share with you tonight. One is sort of like a blast from the past. One of you mentioned the other week about Bonnie Bell. We were talking about makeup from when we were teenagers, and you mentioned the big Bonnie Bell lip smacker kind of balms. And you got me thinking because a while back I had bought one from this company called Treat. Now, this is a treat because they have a lot of fun flavors. I had originally bought one in the flavor marshmallow because I love marshmallows. And I really liked it. And then I can't even remember the other flavor. It was like birthday cake, something like that. It's been a while. So I ordered this. This is banana cream. Oh my gosh, it's amazing. I end up putting this on a lot. It doesn't dry out my lips. I know that some people have said certain lip balms, like the, the rounded one we know about, has had trouble with drying out their lips. Well, this one is got really good ingredients in it. It's cruelty-free, and it's just much better than the Bonnie Bell. So if you like that as a kid, you might want to pop one of these in your purse. The smell, I wish we had smell-o-vision because I would be letting you smell this. It smells exactly like bananas. Now you can see I've got a little color on it. I like to top my lipstick with this. It gives a nice amount of shine. If I have a matte lipstick like this, I'll show you. I'll just do couple of swipes and it gives a little shine, more moisture, and so I love this. It was very affordable and it's fun and it smells great. Speaking of smell, I want to share, now this is not an inexpensive fragrance, but it is compared to Chanel and all the expensive perfume. I love MoroccanOil for my hair. I've used it. I first purchased it in the salon that I went to, and then I've been purchasing it for years. Maybe, I know before my 50th birthday I was using it. So I would say I'm 57, almost 58. I've probably used MoroccanOil for 10 years. Well, they came out with a fragrance mist. I've talked a little bit about it before on my channel, but I wanted to let you know what a favorite it is of mine. Now the great thing is, if you don't know if you're going to like it or not, they have a smaller size that's around $18. I believe this one is around $32. But I'm telling you, the great thing about this is not only is it a fragrance mist, but I'm about to show you. It's for your hair too. It's a hair mist. I didn't know that when I bought it, but it's for the hair and body. So I love it. It makes my hair smell so beautiful. And, I was wearing it. My husband said, "What did you put in your hair? It smells so good." And it was this. It wasn't my shampoo. It was that I put the fragrance mist in. So I'm going to go ahead and spend a couple of minutes here answering any questions you have before we sign off tonight. If you have any questions for me, go ahead and put them in now and we'll go over them. Kathy says, is that lip color on top of a lip primer? It isn't. This is just on its own. I didn't put lip primer. I usually do. I love the one from Elizabeth Arden, the one that my mom bought, that she'd been holding out on me. I said, you didn't mention that to me. You were using that. That lip cream is wonderful. I love it. She loves it. She's bought several tubes of it. But tonight I just put it on bare lips. So Deborah says, is there a dupe for Charlotte Tilbury eyeliner? It's the best I've used, but pricey. I've used one of her bigger crayons. And I have to say, I haven't found anything yet just like it. I bought one that was in green, and it's so beautiful. It's like a hunter green with gold in it. It's just amazing. It really is. And I love it. It's one of the bigger eye crayons. And I found one from Milani, but what I found is when I did like a wear test on my hands, the Milani did not hold up the way the Charlotte Tilbury did. The Charlotte Tilbury stayed on my hand, and again, that's where you start saying, do I need this? Because it is longer lasting and it's that unique shade that I love so much. So right now I haven't found a dupe for that one, but I'll look into that. What I found with Charlotte Tilbury compared with some of the drugstore products that are duped by people is that her product tends to last longer. Again, when I do wear tests on my arms and I'm rubbing and hours later what is left, hers stands the test. Like her Pillow Talk lip liner, I have dupes, but if you start rubbing them, the Charlotte holds up better. So, and I've had other people say that to me, comment that yes, that is a dupe, but the Charlotte is longer lasting. So I want to make sure to make that point. And Elhan says, I love the Neutrogena Hydra Boost Skin Tint. Oh, I do too. I showed that recently. I think in my last live I showed that. That is a beautiful product for the face, very thin, lets your own skin show through, but does give some coverage. So I really like that. And I love it. Kathy says it's 70, sunny and clear in Southern California. No smog. Thank goodness, Kathy. I'm so happy for you all. And Kelly Girl says, do you use the New Face, Laura? And if so, do you have any savings or links? I have not. I've used, let me clarify. I went to a night, it was a local spa in our area, had a beauty night. This was several years ago. And they had the New Face there, and they tried it on me, and they did it in the eye area. And I tell you, my eyes did look lifted. That lasted for about a day. And at that time, then I didn't buy it that night, and I haven't bought it yet. I'm not saying I never will buy it, but I haven't bought it yet. What I have found is that the gua sha is really doing what I want it to do. I love it because a gua sha tool isn't going to break down. If you've got a stone, it's not going to break down unless you drop it on the floor, which I have done. And I just feel like it does a great job. And so I haven't ventured down that road yet, Kelly. But let me know if you buy it and you use it. I'd love to get your feedback about that. And Helen says, what do you recommend for your eyebrows? Well, CoverGirl has some thin pencils. I like a thin pencil. What I did tonight for my brows is I used a thin pencil and I used a brow tinted gel on them. I like that combination. I found that pomades look too heavy on my eyes and really age my eyes when I use them, so I've gotten away from those, Helen. But now here's, if you don't mind spending a little more, I would recommend, if you have an Ulta near you, having your brows shaped by them and them trying the pencils on you. Tonight, I am using a pencil shade. I went to Ulta. I did a video about it a very long time ago. I don't even know if I still have that up because sometimes I will take videos down that the products aren't relevant anymore. They're too hard to get. But I went to Ulta and had this lady shape my brows and use the Benefit. It was the Benefit Bar Brow at Ulta. And she did such an amazing job. Well, she found like the perfect shade for my brows. It's like a 2.5. They have so many shades in that line that you can really find the perfect shade for you. It's a little harder at the drugstore. What I have found that I really love, I love Flower Beauty's pencil. They have an amazing one for around $10. CoverGirl also has one I like that's very thin and narrow. So there's a couple that are less expensive, but I think fine point pencils are just so much better at getting the tail, making that thicker, and actually giving a different shape to your brow. And Terry says, I agree, Charlotte is a lot longer lasting. And let's see what Melody says. Looking for an eyeliner to do my upper waterline that doesn't give transfer. So I'm going to have to get back to you on that, Melody, because the thing is with that, I don't usually use the waterline. I don't usually do it there. I do mainly my lid on top of the lid, and I don't do any in the under eye either anymore. So I really am not the best person to tell you that, but I will research that and make a point to get back with you. Let's see, B. Walker, they're talking, I think that's all the questions. I see Julie says, NYX Thick It Stick and Fenty Fine Brow Pencils are both excellent for brows with great staying power. Thank you for recommending those. And yes, Helen, when you're at Ulta, it's worth it. And I don't believe, you'll have to check into it. I don't know if they charge for that anymore. I know, I think what I did pay for the whole service because at that point I had my brows shaped too. I wanted them shaped and see how someone else would see my brows. I know the lady said to me, she said, you have a very unique shape of brow, and I said, that's just the way they grow. They've always grown that way, even as a teenager. So our hair just grows a certain way, and but I tried to reshape the eye with the one from Benefit, and it really is great. To me, it is, the pencil itself seems to last me a very long time. I don't run out of it all the time. Some of the pencils I've tried before last like a month and then you're out of it. So the Benefit seems to last a long time for me too. And so anyway, we're gonna wrap up with that tonight, ladies. I appreciate you coming so much. Again, all the links for any of the products I talked about tonight are beneath the description of the video in the Show More section. Also, this Saturday, my video is all about problem solvers. I pretty much go head to toe, things that I have issues with and the products that I use for them. So I think you're really going to enjoy this video. It's sort of a very comprehensive video. Everything, like I said, from the top of my head to the tips of my toes. So I've been spending a lot of time getting this all together for you, and I think it's going to be a very useful video. At least I hope so. So I would love to see you there. And before you leave, if you would give the video a like, and I would love you to share, if you would share any of my videos that you think are helpful with a friend. It's just a great way to build our community, and I would really appreciate that. That helps my channel so much in the algorithm. YouTube is one of those places where you can just get lost in a black hole. So when you all like and subscribe and do those things, it really is a way to help my channel, and I appreciate it so much. I hope you ladies have a wonderful evening. Thanks so much to all of you for coming tonight, and I'll look forward to seeing you on Saturday. Have a beautiful evening.